So me and my boyfriend, we was outside throwing a football around like we some teenagers or something. When it was my boyfriend's time to throw the football again, he threw it so hard that I couldn't catch it. Instead, the football flew into somebody else's house and it broke their window. Now my boyfriend tried to run so nobody would notice that we broke somebody else's window. I looked at him and said, no, we're not running. We're finna go apologize. So we both walked up to the house and we rung the doorbell, but nobody answered. But for some reason, the door was cracked, so we just walked right on in. When we walked into the house, we discovered that the football not only broke the window, but it also broke a vase. Suddenly, a man walks out of a nearby room. My boyfriend started apologizing for breaking his window and for breaking his vase. The man said, you ain't gotta apologize because I am a genie and I've been stuck in that vase for 20 years. He said, y'all rescued me and I really owe y'all. For helping me, I will grant 3 wishes. He looked at my boyfriend. He said, I will give you one, and then I will give your beautiful girlfriend one, and then I will keep one for myself. The man looked at my boyfriend and he said, now what do you wish for? Without no hesitation, my boyfriend said, I wish for $2 million. The man started waving his hands and he said, $2 million is yours. It's already been deposited into your bank account. Then he looked at me and he said, now what do you wish for? I said, I wish for a big beach house in Hawaii. The man waved his hands again and he said, a big beach house in Hawaii is yours. Then the man said, well, I guess it's my turn. He sat there and thought for a minute. Then he looked at my boyfriend and he said, well, you know, I haven't been with a woman in 20 years. Would you let me make love to your girlfriend? I looked at my boyfriend and I shook my head, no. Then my boyfriend said, look, sweetheart, he gave us $2 million in a big beach house in Hawaii. You can at least make love to him. I finally agreed and then I went back to a bedroom with the genie. After making love, I said, I can't believe my boyfriend let me do this. The man looked at me with a smirk on his face. And he said, I can't believe your boyfriend still believes in genies. I just knew not to get in the car with my cousin today. So we got pulled over, and when the officer walked up to the car, she rolled her window down and she asked him, do we have a problem? He said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you were speeding. Can I please see your license? She gonna say, I would give you my license, but I don't have a license. She was like, I got my license suspended 5 years ago. The officer was confused, but then he continued to ask for the vehicle's registration. That girl told the officer she couldn't do that because the car is stolen. The officer said, it's stolen, huh? And then he asked for the keys and he told us to wait right there while he walked back to his car. He told us that he was going to be right back, but after he left, I tapped on my cousin's shoulder. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is you doing? She looked at me and she said, just calm down, girl, and let me do my thing. Now, when the officer came back to the car, she didn't even let him say a thing. She said, guess what? I got something in the trunk too, and then she winked at him. Y'all, he took a couple steps back and he called backup on his walkie-talkie. At this point, I didn't even think I was going to make it home. Like, why is she playing with this police officer? At this point, the senior officer arrives. And my cousin said, what's the problem, sir? He said, well, one of my officers informed me that this is a stolen vehicle and there is something in your trunk. He said, can you please open the trunk? She opened the trunk and the trunk is empty. He comes to the front and he asks my cousin, is the vehicle hers? She says yes, and she hands him the registration papers. Then the officer said, well, I was also informed that you don't have a license. She picked up her purse, went through her purse, and found her license and handed it to the officer. Now, the officer is shocked. He said, well, my officer just told me that you don't have a license, this vehicle is stolen, and there's something in your trunk. My cousin said, wow, really? I bet you that liar told you I was speeding too. My sister's house got raided by the police while I was there. Now, we obviously didn't prepare for this, so while they were searching us, they found an illegal substance in my pocket. But anyways, the police officer smiled at me and he was like, you know you're going to jail, right? Before he put me in handcuffs, I was like, officer, please let me explain. He said, okay, you got 2 minutes, now explain. I said, officer, I found this in an Uber that I just took to get here. And the car looked so clean and it smelled so nice that I didn't think this belonged to the Uber driver. So I tried to do the Uber driver a favor and I took it and put it in my pocket, but my plan was to flush it down the toilet. I said, but every time I flushed it down the toilet, it ends up right back in my pocket. He started looking at me skeptical, and then he was like, oh, really? This is something that I have to see. He said, if you can prove this to me, then you're free to go. But if you're lying, then you're getting extra time for wasting my time. Now, at this point, I got real nervous. But anyways, I make my way to the bathroom with the officer directly behind me. Then I looked at the toilet, and I took a deep breath. Then I took the substance out my pocket and I put it in the toilet. Now me and the officer are both looking at the substance getting flushed down the toilet. At this point, a couple minutes passed and nothing happened. So now the officer took out his handcuffs and he told me to turn around and he put the handcuffs on me. And I'm like, wait, what are you doing? He said it's been a few minutes, so why haven't the substance reappeared back in your pocket yet? And that's when I looked him in his eyes. I said, officer, what substance?